Armageddon, just a week away. Can you believe it, guys? Armageddon, it's just a week away. Oh no, by the time this video goes up, Armageddon's probably going to be out. And in celebration of Armageddon, well, celebration, so to speak, I'm going to be adding an orc head to the base of my Sabodan Khan model. I think right about here should be nice, so let's get to it. Right, to begin, we're going to get some Corax White, and we're just going to do a nice little dry brush over the model. You know, just pick out all those details, and this is a very wet colour I've used. I've not mixed it very well, but we're just going to dry brush all over the model until we get a nice, you know, highlighted model. Here we have our lovely little orc head, all nicely dry brushed. And now let's get started with the real painting. I'm going to start by painting the orc lips, and to do that, I'm going to make a nice little pink colour out of this Hellspawn Red and White Star. So let's just mix that up into a nice pink colour. Any pink will do, but I just thought I'm going to use the red and the white later, so might as well get them out now. So just going to thin down the pink a bit and start painting up those lips. The paint was a little bit too thin, so I'm just thickening it up a little. Since this is our first colour, we can be as sloppy as we want, so I'm just going to lay it down everywhere. I mean, I'm going to glaze the green into the pink later, so it really doesn't matter, you know, if this gets everywhere. Now that we've got the pink down, we're just going to take our chosen green colour, so we're on a bit of a dark green, so we're going to be using Orc Hide. And we're just going to send this down to a layer glaze-ish consistency, and just layer on the paint over most of the model, and glaze it in around the mouth to kind of create that smooth pink-green transition. I say smooth, it's a very rough transition actually, it's not smooth at all, but you do want a bit of a transition going there. Take care to just apply as many layers as possible. Keep it thin. You don't want to create texture. This does take ages. I spend a while doing this. Yeah, and make sure not to paint over wet paint. You don't want to reactivate your paint. Right, now that we've got our nice green base coat down, we're gonna work on the teeth next. Why the teeth? I don't know. I do things in whatever order I feel like it. If I was batch painting, I'd have a better process, but it's one model. So we're just gonna get same white we used earlier and just paint it down the teeth. It really doesn't matter that it's so bright because we're gonna paint over it. This is just to really block in that sort of them teeth shape and clean up the sort of the edges from the paint. Right, with all that white down, we're now just going to bring the colour back down, so we're going to be using Gagrak Sewer. And we're just going to paint this over the teeth, get it in all the recesses, and really give it that dirty, dirty teeth look. With the teeth dirty down, we're just going to get out some Uriel yellow and mix it with our white. Yeah, about 50-50, probably a bit closer to the yellow than the white. And then we're just going to really chunky highlight, so quite thick edge highlights around the teeth to bring back some of that colour that they've lost. We've got our nice yellow and black teeth, and we're just going to bring in a spot highlight. So we're just going to use a bit of the white that we have left, And we're just going to go for, not all of them, but just a couple of the very sharpest tips of the teeth. And we're just going to put a little dot of white, just to give them that little gleam, you know? This guy brushes his teeth, more than most orcs. And there we have it, our nice orc teeth ready to go. And so we're just going to move back to the green of the orc. Going for a much brighter green colour, so we're going to be using Talisman Green. And for this, we're just going to water it down to about a glaze consistency, and we're just going to glaze it into the raised areas. So the glaze consistency is quite thin, so take care not to glaze into the recesses. We want to keep them recesses dark, and we just want to catch this on all the raised areas. At first, you're probably not even going to see the colour change, but you've got to just wait for those layers to dry and then keep applying. And after 2 or 3 times, you're going to start to get that very subtle transition from the darker to the brighter green. This is going to take ages also, you know. Yep, little jump cut. Now that I've got all the layers down, we can see that we've got that nice green sort of skin look. We're just going to focus on the eyes now, because if we paint the eyes, any mistakes we make, I can just go back and fix them up now if I do the eyes right now. So we're just going to take a bit of red. I didn't actually end up using the same red, I ended up using Mephiston red. And we're just going to paint in those eyes. I'm only going to do one because the other's completely scarred, so no point in doing that. It saves me some effort as well. It's going to be hidden away where I'm going to place it. I'm also just going to paint the back of his neck while I've got the red out. Now that's done, we're just going to add some Troll Slayer Orange, brighten up that eye a bit. I'm not going to go too crazy or anything. This is just a little piece of my base, essentially. It's a little option extra, so just to go too crazy with the eyes. So just a little dab of orange will do. There's too much life in this orc's eyes, so we're going to take a bit of Basilicanum Grey and just, you know, dull down that eye a bit. And just while we have the grey out, we're also going to put it into the scars he has on his skull, just to emphasize them a little more, add that little definition. I'll put it a bit in his other eye too, but the main purpose of using this is to dull the shine, so to speak. Now, moving back to the orc skin, we're going to go for a final edge highlight. We're just going to take our green from before and mix it with the yellow we used earlier. And to about a layer consistency. You don't need to glaze this, really. You can do if you want perfectly smooth consistency, but it's just an edge highlight, really. So we're just going to highlight all the upper raised details, just very gently. And now that orc skin is looking nice. So, we can put in the orc skin. From here, I'm just going to quickly paint up the little earrings he's got, a bit of metal or whatever. And then we're going to add the blood effects, add it to the base. So, we're going to take some Blood for the Blood God technical paint. And we're going to start by just applying this to the back of his neck. Just get it all over there. It's going to cover up that white mostly and the red, so I wasn't too fussed about how they looked, because this is really just going to cover them up. And I'm going to grab the model with a bit of tissue paper, cover it up, and just flick a bit of blood down where I want the head to be, you know, add a bit of character, environmental storytelling, if you will. This brush is far too small, and I will go and grab a bigger brush in a moment. So just going to dab the paint on, paint it around, add a bit, as much blood as I think is reasonable. Just keep doing it until it looks nice, Did not spill blood for the blood god all over my table and all over my hands and have to replace my mat. That didn't happen. And we're going to just carry on, as before. Alright, take our little head, snip off the neck, and we're just going to paint up the little joint where the snip was. It's going to be glued there anyway. It's not that deep. Super glue, and we're going to just dab a little bit on the bottom of the model. You can't see what I'm doing because I'm off camera. Trust me, I definitely dabbed a little bit on the bottom. And now I'm just going to glue it in place where I'd like, being careful not to, rip off chunks of paint by, touching the wrong place with the super glue. And we'll just set that down and wait for that to dry. Right, heads down, exactly in place, and now we can add even more blood, because now we know exactly where all the bits are. So we're just going to brush this around, bit in the bush, bit on the back of the head, bit underneath the head. Might flick some more blood on it as well, just over the front, just to, get that real nice blood effect. And we'll get this everywhere. There we have it. There's the effect. I did enter this in the Legends of Paint at the Armageddon release event, and I got a little pin badge, so that's nice. I thought it was kind of worth it. Maybe I would have got it without it, maybe I would have. Who knows? Thank you very much for watching, and this has been hard work. Have a good one.